Every time a game happens in the WNBA, somebody's
The
getting
Indiana Fever walked into Minnesota against the Lynx with 5 players already sidelined. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Chloe Bibby, Sydney Colson, and Ari McDonald. Odyssey Sims limped onto the floor anyway, just to give them a fighting chance. And then the referees delivered the biggest gut punch of the night. Lexie Hull takes an elbow to the face from Caitlin McBride, and they call the foul on Hull. Caitlin Clark is furious. How does this keep happening? If you thought the injury crisis was bad, wait until you hear how officiating is stacking the deck against this team's playoff fight. Do you think the referees are out to get the Fever? Let us know down in the comments below. Let's go. Imagine going into a game against one of the league's toughest teams with more than half your roster unavailable. That's not an exaggeration. That's exactly what Indiana faced. Caitlin Clark was sidelined with a groin injury for more than a month now. Sophie Cunningham out for the season with an MCL tear. Chloe Bibby nursing a knee problem. Sydney Colson out for the season with a torn ACL. And Ari McDonald out for the season with a right foot injury. That's 5 players gone. Odyssey Sims, their hardship. Contract signee, essentially the backup to the backup of Caitlin Clark, wasn't even close to full strength. But with the roster so thin, she still dragged herself onto the court. Just reading that list of absences is exhausting. So imagine trying to compete at the professional level with those gaps in your lineup. This avalanche of injuries didn't just strip away superstar talent. It destroyed the very structure of Indiana's rotations. Their entire wing guard depth vanished overnight, leaving players like Lexie Hull and Kelsey Mitchell carrying an impossible load. 2 nights ago, also against Minnesota, Hull was forced to play a career-high 37 minutes and poured in 23 points because there simply was no one else to fill that role. That's not a luxury performance, it's pure necessity. When you're relying on players to give you more than they ever have before, every possession feels like a mountain to climb. Don't get me wrong, Hull can definitely put up these numbers on any given night, but to ask heavy minutes from each of your starters because no one is left is a heavy task. The team's patchwork fixes have come in the form of hardship contracts, bodies signed on the fly just to keep them afloat. Shea Petty had barely unpacked her bags before being jetted into the rotation. Odyssey Sims, battling her own injuries, was somehow expected to steady the team. Aerial Powers was another late addition, thrown directly into major minutes without the benefit of real chemistry. Teammates, all 3 of them were handed crucial roles with no time to prepare, no rhythm built, and yet were immediately forced into the fire. It's hard to describe how brutal that is to a team's cohesion. It creates a group of players who are trying to build chemistry in real time, while opponents exploit every weakness. Even head coach Stephanie White admitted the physicality Indiana faced was different than what they could handle with this shorthanded roster. Different is really putting it gently. Every drive, every defensive stand required maximum energy from a lineup with paper-thin depth. And still, Kelsey Mitchell did everything she could to drag the Fever into contention. She scored 26 points, fought through traps and relentless defense, and had stretches where she looked like she might single-handedly keep the Fever alive. That's superstar-level performing, but when the rest of your offensive rhythm is stitched together with players who just signed because of injuries, there's a limit to how far one player can take you. This loss wasn't about a lack of effort. It was about survival. The Fever played with grit in the face of a nightmare scenario, refusing to fold despite being outmanned on every front. And yet, as tough as all that sounds, injuries weren't the most damaging factor of the night. The referees decided to make sure of that. What happens when even the referees become part of the problem? That's the reality Indiana had to deal with. Lexie Hull, already stretched thin, playing huge minutes, was battling on defense when Kayla McBride swung through. Instead of a clean play, Hull caught a sharp elbow straight to the face. She went down hard, grabbing at her face, and anyone watching assumed the call was obvious. This was textbook flagrant contact. But instead of penalizing McBride, the officials somehow turned the whistle against Hull. The same player who took the elbow was punished as if she had caused it. That decision left the arena buzzing in shock. Fans and analysts alike expected a review to clear things up.